The Parkers once charmed audiences with laughter and warm family moments throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, but behind the spotlight lay tragic fates, as several cast members were lost to horrific accidents or taken by cruel, unexpected illnesses. Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind their lives and pay tribute to the stars who left an unforgettable mark on the hearts of the Parkers fans. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go, Yvette Wilson as Andel Wilkerson. Yvette Renee Wilson was born on March 6, 1964. When she was 35, she stepped into her career peak as Andel Wilkerson, the diner owner and Nicky Parker's loyal best friend in The Parkers, 1999 to 2004. The character of Andel appeared throughout most of the show's 110 episodes, winning over fans with her charming humor and generous heart. But behind the scenes was a long string of tragedies that slowly pulled Yvette's life off its glamorous track. After The Parkers ended, she struggled to find footing in the entertainment industry, landing only small roles and gradually fading from the spotlight. Her health declined rapidly. She was diagnosed with severe kidney disease, requiring a transplant and regular dialysis. Before she could recover, she was hit with cervical cancer, which later spread throughout her body. The hardships didn't end there. Her marriage to music producer Jerome Harry, which began in 2001, was once her emotional refuge. But financial stress and her deteriorating health strained their relationship. In her final years, she couldn't afford her medical expenses and had to rely on a crowdfunding campaign started by close friends. Yvette Wilson passed away on June 14, 2012, at the age of 48. She left quietly, but the memory of her, a brave, funny, deeply kind woman, lives on in the hearts of fans. Isabelle Sanford as Evelyn Nana Smith. Isabelle Sanford, born Eloise Gwendolyn Sanford, was born on August 29, 1917, in Harlem, New York. When she was 84, she appeared in The Parkers, 2001, as Evelyn Nana Smith, Kim's grandmother, a small guest role that served as a graceful tribute to a legendary icon of black television. Yet behind that sparkle was a life filled with heartbreak. Isabelle had married William Richmond, a house painter with little ambition, and fell into a marriage marked by tension and betrayal. She once described it as stifling and cruel. In 1960, after enduring for years, she made the brave decision to leave him, moving to Los Angeles alone with her 3 children. Working as an IBM clerk to support them, she continued to perform quietly in theaters. Her breakthrough came earlier than many remember, playing Louise Wheezy Jefferson in All in the Family, and the Jeffersons not only won the hearts of millions, but also made her the first black woman to win the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a comedy series. Despite being a household name, Isabelle was consistently paid less than her white male co-stars, often written out of opportunities because of her race and age. After the Jeffersons ended, she struggled with short-lived roles and was nearly forgotten by Hollywood. In September 2003, Isabelle underwent surgery on her carotid artery, a serious medical event that caused her health to deteriorate quickly. Just months later, on July 9, 2004, she passed away at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center at the age of 86. She was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery, home to many Hollywood legends. At the time of her passing, her net worth was estimated at $3 million, partly due to television royalties and the enduring love for her iconic role. Thomas Mikall Ford as Mel Parker. Thomas Mikall Ford was born on September 5, 1964, in Los Angeles. When he was 35, he captivated a new generation of fans with his role as Mel Parker, Nicky's ex-husband and Kim's father, in The Parkers, appearing from 1999 to 2001. Mel brought emotional depth to the series in every scene he graced. After his peak, Ford's career began to stall. Comeback efforts through shows like New York Undercover, Who's Got Jokes, and stage plays such as South of Where We Live failed to revive his earlier fame. Quiet financial troubles began to mount. Once dubbed the Pope of Comedy, Ford struggled with failed investments and growing debt. His 17-year marriage to Gina Sasso ended in turmoil in 2014, leaving a lasting emotional scar and 2 children split between parents. Off-stage, Ford devoted himself to positive change. He founded the nonprofit Be Still and Know to support youth, authored motivational books like Positive Attitude and I Am Responsible for Me, and often spoke at schools, spreading messages about self-worth and responsibility. In June 2016, he completed a heartfelt documentary on bullying, Through My Lens, Atl. Less than 4 months later, an unexpected tragedy struck. On October 12, 2016, Thomas Mikall Ford passed away from a ruptured abdominal aneurysm, a severe medical emergency, after enduring chronic pain and limited mobility. He died at age 52 in an Atlanta hospital, where he had been living with his girlfriend, Viviane Brazil. At the time of his death, Ford's net worth was estimated at around $2 million, mostly from royalties and inspirational writing. Gary Coleman as himself. Gary Coleman was born on February 8, 1968, in Zion, Illinois. In 2001, when he was 33, he made a special guest appearance in The Parkers as himself, a reflection of the fading spotlight once shining on a former superstar. But behind the friendly smile on screen was a life full of darkness and injustice. Gary suffered from a congenital kidney condition that stunted his growth at 4 feet 8 inches, required lifelong dialysis, and prevented him from living a typical life. Despite achieving massive fame playing Arnold in Different Strokes, the millions he earned as a teen star were drained by his adoptive parents and financial manager. In 1989, Gary filed a headline-making lawsuit against his parents and won, but received only $1.3 million, a fraction of what he had once earned. As he grew older, Gary's career spiraled downward. He lived in poverty, working as a security guard at a mall and taking on self-mocking roles on TV to survive. His marriage to Shannon Price was fraught with conflict, emotional abuse, and isolation. They separated in less than a year, but Price remained in his life during his final years, in a role that raised many questions at the time of his death. On May 28, 2010, Gary Coleman died at age 42 after a severe fall led to a brain hemorrhage. His sudden death sparked controversy, as it was his ex-wife who made the decision to remove him from life support. At the time of his passing, his net worth was estimated at only $75,000. A shocking number for a former multimillionaire star. Estelle Harris as Miss Agnes. Estelle Harris was born on April 22, 1928. When she was 71, she appeared in The Parkers, 1999, as Miss Agnes, a small guest role that stood out with her unmistakable comedic style. Harris's career spanned decades, but the stage lights grew dimmer toward the end. Behind her signature high-pitched, playful voice was a woman who often felt forgotten and isolated. Though she enjoyed success through countless voice roles and commercials, Harris admitted she was a private person who kept to herself off-screen. The name Estelle Costanza brought laughter to millions, but it also boxed her in, making it difficult to expand into more complex roles. After her husband, Cy Harris, passed away in 2021, her partner of nearly 70 years left behind an unfillable void. Estelle's final years were marked by declining health, fading memory, and the quiet sorrow of outliving her closest friends. In 2001, she survived a serious car accident, barely escaping death, a stark reminder of life's fragility. Though always cheerful on screen, she spent her final years quietly in Palm Desert, California, largely retired from the entertainment world. Estelle Harris passed away on April 2, 2022, just 20 days before her 94th birthday, due to natural causes. Her net worth at the time was estimated at around $5 million, largely from long-standing voice contracts with Disney and residuals from ongoing ad campaigns. Nancy Wilson as Aunt Rita. Nancy Wilson was born on February 20th, 1937, and when she was 64, she appeared in The Parkers, 2001, as Aunt Rita. A small guest role delivered with the poise and warm, velvety voice that once captivated jazz audiences around the world. However, behind the glamour was a life filled with deep emotional wounds. Her divorce from drummer Kenny Dennis in 1970 left her a single mother performing tirelessly to support her children. She later married Reverend Wiley Burton, who brought renewed hope. But even that marriage carried quiet strain, as she had to avoid many familiar venues to preserve her role as a minister's wife, sacrificing her career for the sake of family. In her later years, Nancy faced compounding grief. Both her parents died in 1998, and then her husband succumbed to kidney cancer in 2008, plunging her into solitude and prompting her to retreat from public life, settling in the mountains of California. Her health began declining in 2006 due to anemia and potassium deficiency, forcing her to cancel numerous concerts. In her final years, she battled lung disease and cancer, rarely making public appearances. Yet, she remained graceful and grateful, once saying, "There's no place like Ohio. That's where I began, and that's where I want to end." Nancy Wilson passed away on December 13, 2018, at her home in Pioneer Town, California, at the age of 81. Her net worth was estimated at $15 million, mostly from music revenue, performance royalties, and international recording contracts. David Graff as health inspector. Paul David Graff was born on April 16, 1950, and when he was 49, he appeared in The Parkers, 1999, as the health inspector, a small but sharp role, echoing the commanding style that defined his iconic portrayal of Sergeant Eugene Tackleberry in the Police Academy series. That character's military toughness and love for weapons made Graff a household name, but it also became a limiting shadow he could never quite escape. Behind the scenes, Graff led a life filled with pressure and quiet struggles. His marriage to Catherine Graff, official since 1983, endured on paper, but faced constant financial anxiety, especially with two sons still in school. David masked these burdens with a jovial exterior and professional dedication, but as acting offers dwindled, he became increasingly emotionally drained. Minor roles and his involvement with the SAG union, which brought little financial reward, forced the family into quiet austerity, often relying on borrowing to stay afloat. Tragically, David ignored persistent health warnings, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, assuming they were just temporary side effects of stress. He postponed a heart exam to attend his brother-in-law's wedding in Phoenix, thinking he could just push through. But just hours after arriving, he collapsed suddenly on April 7, 2001. Doctors confirmed he died from a massive heart attack, leaving behind a stunned family and millions of fans with no chance to say goodbye. David Graff was 50 years old when he died and was laid to rest at Forest Rose Cemetery in Ohio. Though he spent his career fighting for underrepresented actors, his net worth at the time of death was only about $500,000. Perhaps in living so much for others, he forgot to listen to his own heart, both literally and figuratively. Johnny Brown as Man. Johnny Brown was born on June 11, 1937, and when he was 66, he appeared in The Parkers, 2003, as Man. A brief guest role that few may recall, yet one that stands as a quiet testament to a once brilliant career. That role brought laughter to millions of households, but it also typecast him into a persona he struggled to escape. Rising to fame after the success of Good Times, Johnny Brown tried to sustain his career through guest appearances on The Jeffersons, Martin, Family Matters, and Kenan and Kel. But he became repeatedly typecast. Despite his radiant smile, captivating voice, and masterful expressions, Hollywood gradually forgot him. In his later years, he appeared mostly in commercials or tribute music videos. In his private life, he shared a long, devoted marriage with June Brown for over 6 decades and was the father of 2 children, including actress Sharon Catherine Brown. However, the downturn of his career and a deep sense of being overlooked by the industry led him into periods of depression and frustration. He once shared that he felt invisible in the very world that used to applaud for me. On March 2nd, 2022, Johnny Brown collapsed shortly after leaving a doctor's appointment to have a pacemaker installed. He was taken to a hospital in Los Angeles, but did not survive. He passed away at the age of 84, leaving behind a legacy both quiet and sincere. Jean Sincere as woman. Jean Sinney. Sincere was born on August 16, 1919. In 2003, when she was 84, she appeared in The Parkers as Woman, a fleeting role that reflected her unwavering commitment to acting across nearly 8 decades. Her presence carried the aura of a performer who had lived her entire life under the stage lights, from Brigadoon and Wonderful Town to her memorable voice as Mrs. Hoganson in The Incredibles. But behind that long career was a life marked by loss. Jean was one of the performers who entertained U.S. troops during World War II, always contributing quietly without seeking fame. Her marriage to Charles Carmine Zambello, which began in 1949, was once seen as unshakable. But when Charles passed away in 1992, Jean nearly shut herself off from the world, spending the next 2 decades in solitude. The shock of losing her husband caused her to withdraw, and although she had 2 successful children, an opera director and an art dealer, she chose a simple life far from Hollywood. In her final years, Jean faced age-related memory loss, eventually forgetting many of the roles she had once performed. Jean Sincere passed away on April 3, 2013 in Los Angeles at the age of 93, from natural causes. James Karen as Robert Vanlow. James Karen, born Jacob Karnofsky, was born on November 28, 1923 in Pennsylvania. When he was 77, he appeared in The Parkers, 2000, as Robert Vanlow, a small guest role infused with the gravitas of a veteran actor who had starred in classics like Poltergeist, Wall Street, The Return of the Living Dead, and The Pursuit of Happiness. Though his career seemed full of glory, his personal life was riddled with silent voids. His first marriage to folk singer and actress Susan Reed ended in 1967, and though it brought him 1 son, Reed Karen, their bond over time grew distant. In his later years, James would admit to a persistent fear, the fear of being forgotten. It wasn't fame he chased, but the haunting idea that all his years of hard work might vanish in the shadow of younger, faster-rising stars. Away from the spotlight, Karen was a deeply private and introspective man. Known for his gentle demeanor and solitary nature, he was never the loudest voice in the room, but always one of the most thoughtful. As he moved into his 90s, his health began to falter. His memory dimmed, his strength declined, and slowly he withdrew from public life. Though he managed to appear in The Pursuit of Happiness, a late career high point, most of his final work came through smaller roles in low-budget productions. Still, he kept working, kept showing up, even as his body signaled it was time to rest. At the time of his passing, James Karen's net worth was estimated at around $1 million, modest by Hollywood standards, much of it earned through commercial royalties and television appearances. But to those who knew him or followed his career, his worth could never be measured in dollars. James Karen passed away on October 23, 2018, at his home in Los Angeles. He was 94 years old. More than just a seasoned actor, he was a symbol of a fading generation. Artists who believed in humility over ego, in craft over fame, and even in his final years, he never stopped doing what he loved. He never stopped giving. Robert Doqui as Walter. Robert Doqui was born on April 20th, 1934 in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and when he was 67, he appeared in The Parkers, 2001, as Walter, a brief guest role that embodied the quiet strength he brought to all his performances. Doqui was a man gifted with a deep, resonant voice and a calm, commanding presence, qualities that made him unforgettable on screen. Yet despite his talent, Hollywood often kept him on the sidelines. He was frequently cast in supporting roles, rarely given the chance to shine as a leading man. Even in the RoboCop trilogy, where he appeared in all three films as Sergeant Reed, his character was never given the full development it deserved. He was present, reliable, and recognizable, but still somehow overlooked. These professional limitations took a toll not only on his spirit, but also on his personal life. His marriage to actress Janie Michelle, once a promising union between two performers, came to an end in 1978, an emotional loss that deepened the growing distance between Doqui and the Hollywood spotlight. Away from the cameras, Robert was fighting a quieter battle. For years, he suffered from chronic lung disease, a debilitating condition that he chose to keep private. He rarely spoke of his declining health, continuing to take on smaller roles in television shows such as Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and The Parkers. But behind the scenes, his condition worsened steadily, leaving him increasingly frail even as he tried to maintain his presence in the industry he loved. On February 9, 2008, Robert Doqui passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 73, due to natural causes. To many fans, he will always be remembered as the firm and fearless police sergeant who gave orders in RoboCop, standing tall in the face of chaos. But off-screen, he was something just as powerful, a quiet warrior, an actor who never gave up, who kept showing up even when the world seemed to look the other way. Terry Rhodes as Regginald. Terry Rhodes was born on December 31, 1951, in Phoenix, Arizona. In 2003, when he was 52, he appeared in The Parkers as Regginald, a small guest role tucked among a vibrant cast of characters. At first glance, he was just another passing face on screen, but behind that brief appearance was the story of an artist who was never given the center stage. Terry began his career in the 1980s and gradually built a reputation through supporting roles in sitcoms like Friends, Seinfeld, House MD, and Desperate Housewives. Every appearance carried his signature charm and precision, but Hollywood never gave him a leading role. Being typecast as a spiritual stand-in left Terry quietly bearing the weight of professional frustration while many of his peers rose to stardom. His personal life, too, faced its share of turbulence. After divorcing his first wife, Deborah Renee Yetter, mother of his two children, Terry remarried actress Lisa Sims in 1990. They remained together until his final days, yet he openly described the unfulfilled wish to have children with Lisa as his greatest regret, a sorrow that stayed with him throughout his later years. Fate challenged him not only with an overlooked career, but also with a rare, painful condition, amyloidosis, a debilitating disease that drained his body and spirit. For nearly a year, he battled its harsh effects, becoming too weak to continue working. Terry Rhodes passed away on October 11, 2013, in Encino, California, at the age of 61. He died in the arms of his second wife, his quiet, steadfast companion to the end, Tina Marie as herself. Tina Marie, born Mary Christine Brockert, was born on March 5, 1956, in Santa Monica, California. In 2000, when she was 44, she appeared on The Parkers as herself, a rare white R&B legend revered by black audiences. It was not just a cameo. It was a tribute to the voice behind Lover Girl, and one of her few television appearances during a post-peak phase filled with personal and professional trials. Tina once fought a brutal legal battle with Motown Records in the early 1980s. She was locked in a contract that barred her from releasing new music, leading to financial hardship and depression. That pain transformed her into a legal icon when the Brockert Initiative passed, a law protecting artists from label exploitation. At the same time, her personal life grew tense as she navigated life as a single mother raising her daughter Aaliyah Rose without a partner. Tina never married, though she shared a deeply meaningful relationship with the late Rick James. Beneath the spotlight's glow lived a lonely woman who often spoke of love that never fully bloomed. In 2004, she suffered a severe accident when a bed frame struck her head, causing long-term seizures and neurological issues that drastically reduced her ability to perform. That condition would later contribute to her death. Tina Marie died suddenly in her sleep on December 26, 2010, at the age of 54, just one day after her daughter's birthday. She left behind a massive musical legacy and an estimated net worth of around $3 million. Andre Rosie Brown as Lamar. Andre Rosie Brown was born on February 7, 1956, in Rockford, Illinois. In 2002, when he was 46, he appeared in The Parkers as Lamar, a supporting role that aligned with the typecasting Hollywood often imposed on men with large frames like his. Throughout his acting career, Andre was routinely cast as bodyguards, security guards, and big guys, despite his desire to play roles with emotional depth and complexity. Though prolific in appearances, his filmography lacked a defining mark, leaving him painfully aware of the prejudice his physique invited. His struggles didn't stop at the studio gates. His long marriage to Deborah Brown began to crack as Andre faced long periods of unemployment after retiring from the police force in 1998. Financial instability hit the family hard, and Andre, the once proud provider, had to chase his acting dreams under mounting pressure. Often he accepted roles just to make ends meet, regardless of quality or meaning. Though he appeared in over 40 films and TV shows, he was rarely remembered. His most substantial role came as Morgan Washington in 413 Hope Street, which Andre once called a rare chance to be fully human. But the series was canceled after just 8 episodes. Each career setback sent him back into small, forgettable roles in Friends Frasier, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, just another muscle guy in the background. Yet, he never publicly complained. In quiet interviews, he'd say, "I just want one role where people remember my name, not just my size." On July 18, 2006, Andre died suddenly from a heart attack in Northridge, California, at the age of 50. His death came after a private battle with illness, something he had kept hidden to spare his family worry. The stars of The Parkers left behind unforgettable legacies, but their tragedies remind us of the price of fame. Which character touched you the most? How do their stories make you feel? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us in honoring these legends.